Welcome to the Shakaama Live Show with your host, Shakaama. We have some breaking news in the Bill Cosby case. His lawyers went to the state Supreme Court in Pennsylvania, and it did not go so well for the prosecution. There is talk of the case being completely thrown out and dismissed against him. So let's get into that. First of all, make sure that you thumbs up the video. If you're into this sort of thing, you would subscribe to me and make sure you have notifications. And when you subscribe, that you watch the video from start to finish. You can't watch 60 seconds of a video and be like, okay, I got the gist, that's it. Well, that destroys the channel. That literally destroys the channel. I'm not mincing words. If you like my content, you will watch the content. I can't be shucking and jiving and dancing around for you or twerking or whatever. If you're into that, this is not the channel for you anyway. Don't subscribe. Don't ever click on my... This is a heads up for anybody that if you watch like 1% of the video of all of their video, you're destroying their channel. That's how you destroy someone. In this online era, they really like that you watch from start to finish. So let's get into this. So the Pennsylvania Supreme Court justices were not very keen on them bringing 5 women to testify against Cosby, with the reasoning of, well, it goes to show prior acts. But then they got into it and they said, well, okay, we noticed that you brought 5 women and you had them testify against Cosby, and it seems awfully curious that the testimony was almost identical to the original accuser. Let me tell you how let's get data out from Star Trek. How impossible would it be for a woman or a man to have the same exact experience as somebody sitting right next to them during the same... Do you know how impossible that is? So, what does that go to? The judge was trying to get at that they were coached, which then means that their testimony is tainted to begin with. They don't have to go through the whole rigmarole, which I'm about to get in a second, of proving that the court case itself was a kangaroo court. They don't even have to go there because all the women said the same exact thing, and they noted that one of the people who took the stand was Janice Dickinson, Janice, whatever her name is, who is a known person. Like Cosby is a well-known person, she's a known person. She wrote a book, and in her book, she went into detail of all of the pharmaceutical drugs that she took to stay awake for weeks at a time. Now, so a judge doesn't operate outside of all of society, right? Especially at that level. They're not secluded from society at large. When that works for you, it works for you, right? You know, when the leftists go before the judge and the judge is a leftist and I can't possibly let this man go free. When that works for you, it works for you. When it doesn't work for you, you need to grin and bear it too, because the judge isn't against you all the time. Sometimes the judge is for you. So if it's good for the judge to pay attention to who's actually giving the testimony, then it's good for the judge to pay attention to who's giving the testimony at all times, including when the ball isn't in your court. So let's get into the next section of, they were talking to the former district attorney. What was the problem? The former district attorney made assurances to Cosby's lawyer at the time that he would not prosecute Cosby ever going forward if he agreed to waive his Fifth Amendment rights. Now, I, as a law school student, I'm a third-year law school, as a law school student, have had it beaten to my head that no, you should tell your client to never, ever say anything to the prosecution or the judge or the court or to police or to the government ever. It's your Fifth Amendment right to not incriminate yourself and not talk. Well, It just so happens that in this case, the accuser's lawyer was hoping Cosby would invoke his Fifth Amendment rights, but he didn't. Now, why would the accuser's lawyer want Cosby to take the Fifth? Because it helps his case against Cosby. Why? Because when Cosby spoke, he gave them exculpatory evidence, meaning he gave them evidence to prove that he was innocent. It wasn't just that he gave a confession. He allowed them to go into his estate, search his home, search his belongings, search his person, and he brought forth proof that he was completely innocent. So they sealed that court case. When the new district attorney came along and said he's going to prosecute Bill Cosby, they unsealed the court case. He brought prosecution against Cosby. He brought charges against Cosby. You know what he did not bring? He did not show that Cosby gave them proof of his innocence. But now in open court for the first time, you have the former district attorney telling the court in open court as a matter of record that Cosby gave proof that he was innocent. This is not what they wanted to come forward. This is probably the only case in history where the person did not invoke their Fifth Amendment rights to not incriminate themselves, and it actually works out for them that indeed they proved their innocence, which you're not supposed to do in the United States. For all of you who are adults, you do not have to prove your innocence in the United States of America. You are assumed to be innocent, and the prosecution has to prove that you are guilty. They have to prove their case. Cosby presented exculpatory evidence, proof he was innocent. They were not allowed to bring that into the trial. So when I say there was a kangaroo court, it was a kangaroo court. Do you think that the district attorney in the trial did not have that proof that he was innocent? He had it. They presented it to them. That's a part of discovery. And the judge forbid them from presenting it in open court in the trial. Now, this was in the news. I've reported on it. I've been doing this case for what, a year, 2 years now? I presented this to the public. So when I say you're a disgusting piece of garbage, if you were thinking Cosby was guilty of anything, I think I'm well within my rights because the evidence was there. If you were really into the case, you would have known that he had proven his innocence. You would have known that the former district attorney said he would not prosecute Cosby because there was no case. That he made a press release in front of the press on the courthouse steps saying, I'm not going to prosecute Cosby because there is no case here. You would have known that the woman changed her story 3 times. And when I say changed her story, you would have known that she changed the entire years of when this was supposed to have gone down. The date and the year. Now, if you had a child and you said, who broke this vase? And the child gave you 3 different dates and times and everything, what would you think that child was telling you? A bald-faced lie. We have to pay attention to what people actually present, right? So I think I'm well within my opinion that you're a piece of garbage if the former district attorney made a press release and said, I'm not going to prosecute Cosby because there is no case here. In fact, there is no evidence at all. And I don't believe the woman at all. And if you then go back and start looking at all of the women who were saying that Cosby did this and that and the other to him, and you find out that people interviewed those women, investigated their stories, and started finding out that Cosby wasn't even in the state at the time. That includes the woman in question. Did you know that part? That Cosby wasn't in his home the entire year that she said that this happened to him. He was not in his home. You know, rich people travel. You know, actors travel. You know, comedians travel. You know, businessmen travel. They can be gone an entire year from their house. Several women who accused Cosby were found out that Cosby wasn't even in the state at the time, wasn't in the city, was nowhere near them. And a few of the women Cosby had never met, meaning he had never been in the same room with them ever in his life. They got on a stand in a court and said he did this, that, and the other. And the judge let them testify. So I think I'm well within my rights with having my opinion that these are disgusting human beings. And that if you're following the case and you're still against Cosby, that you're a disgusting human, right? I think that's reasonable, right? Because obviously you're not here for truth. You're not here for facts. You're here for something else. And this entire case was about something else. Now I'm very disgusted at even having to do these videos. And I was asking myself, why should I even do these videos when people don't even watch them? Well, one of the justices in the Pennsylvania Supreme Court said this case goes beyond this individual Cosby. This goes beyond all of that. You have presented a case that we have to beat down and make absolutely sure to hold your feet to the fire because you have messed this entire thing up so badly that now I have to tell the entire world, we are not going to throw away your constitutional rights because of some agenda. We're not going to do that. Otherwise, we don't need judges. We don't need district attorneys. We can just have police go around and arresting people and then throwing them in jail for life. That's not going to happen. We assume people to be innocent until proven guilty. This man went so far as to not only prove that he wasn't guilty, but to prove that he was completely innocent, which is not something he's supposed to even do in the United States of America. Thank you all for watching. Please support the channel. I'm going to come out with some new merch for the new year. I hope you like it. Thank you.